Hey man, listen, heads up. You got a problem. You got a serious problem. What do you mean, what do I mean? Don't you know the writing's on the wall? The plans are out there. Look, they're coming for you. We can't talk here. Come on, they might see us. Look, you mean you don't know? You're not up on it? You don't know the plans? All right, look, we don't got much time. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the banksters, the mafia, the goon squads, the federales. They've got plans, and the plans are for you. They're going to strip you down financially. They want you dependent. All right, let me lay it out for you. They're coming, no doubt about it. They're coming. Let me lay it out for you. Hold on, and I'll get into some of the details right now, all right? But you got to listen, and you got to do something. You got to do something quick, all right? Listen up. Look, man, like I said, they're coming after you. I'm talking about the traditional banks. They've got plans to take your money in the next crisis. I'll explain that a little bit. The government, they are looking to steal your retirement funds, all right? They're after them. They want your retirement funds, and they've already got plans to do that. The central banks and the globalists, they're stealing your buying power. They're manipulating the currency and inflation to steal your buying power so you can't buy anything. They want you dependent. Free-thinking, independent people do not fit into the globalist plan. You get it? Okay, then there's the legal predators. I'm talking about the robbers, the thieves, the burglars that all belong to the British Accredited Registry. Yeah, the Bar Association. And they're hitmen and strongmen in the courts. They're all working in cahoots. You need to understand that. All right, now, the AI predators, artificial intelligence, this group, they're looking to steal jobs. They're looking to steal your job. And soon, chances are that you're not going to have a job due to the digital age, AI replacing many, if not most, workers in broad segments across the economy. All right? This is what you're up against. This is a monster, and we've got to do something about it. All right? Now, you remember the financial crisis of 2008, right? Huge government bailouts to save the big banks from going under. All right? Well, now they've changed the rules. No more government bailouts. Okay, so you say, oh, great. No, the taxpayers aren't going to have to bail them out. No, taxpayers are not going to have to bail them out. The next financial crisis that comes along, you are going to have to bail them out. All right? The next crisis will involve bail-ins to save the banks. What's a bail-in? It's when they confiscate the savings from depositors. Yes, your money will be used to bail the bank out from their stupid, crooked management. Do a search for financial crisis, financial collapse. Open your eyes. I don't have time to explain it to you if you don't already know. All right? Now, look here. They've got new laws. New laws that allow the government to seize savings deposits during a crisis. All right? It's already in place. They're just waiting for the crisis to happen, and you will be the victim. All right? So behind this veneer of so-called all is well, which is being promoted by both world governments and the mainstream mockingbird media, the political elite have begun implementing legislation, and they've actually already finished it in many jurisdictions, and this is going to permit them to freeze accounts and use your savings to prop up insolvent banks from the crooked banksters. Okay? Now, what crisis, you might ask? Wake up, man. Come on, wake up. Open your eyes. Do your homework. It's inevitable. You can find thousands of articles, thousands of videos from well-educated, experienced financial experts talking about this. So if you're not already aware, do your homework. I'm not going to explain it to you. All right? Economic collapse is erupting all over the planet. as the whole world is swimming in debt they cannot pay back. So when default looks imminent, what do they do to solve the problem? They go deeper into debt, borrow more money, new debt to pay the old debt. How long do you think this will go on? Does that work in your household? I don't think so. All right, the global financial system is unsustainable. Collapse is inevitable, and it's a mathematical certainty. It's not, well, maybe, or they'll figure something out, or everything is fine. No, it's a mathematical certainty if you understand how debt and fiat currency systems operate. All right? So the banks are set to steal from you. Next, we have the goon squads in the bankrupt government. They're after your retirement funds. Well, you say, well, they can't take my retirement funds. Oh, yeah? They've already drafted legislation to force retirement fund managers to, for example, in your 401k, your IRA, that these fund managers are required to buy federal debt, treasury bills, government bonds. And what's that all about? When you buy a government bond, what happens? You give the money to the government, they give you an IOU. Now, do you really want an IOU from a government that already owes $21 trillion on the books that they can't pay back, and which also has well over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities that they'll never be able to pay? Do you really want an IOU from a bankrupt entity that just keeps accumulating more debt and more debt and more debt? I don't think so. This is stupid. So they're after your retirement funds, all right? And that is if you have any retirement funds. Most people don't. Look at this. 78% of the people surveyed are concerned or extremely concerned that they will outlive their retirement funds. They don't have enough saved. 21% have nothing saved, nothing. And 10% have less than $5,000, which is basically the equivalent of nothing, isn't it? You know, if you don't have an income, how far is $5,000 going to get you? Rent, food, lights, all right? That's nothing. Most people don't have anything saved, all right? And that's exactly where they want you. They want you dependent, okay? So now let's talk about the central banks. The central banks are after you. They take hidden taxes. Nobody ever notices, really. You never get a bill, all right? They never demand payment, but they take your money nonetheless, and it's called inflation. And they're using it to destroy your purchasing power. Look at this graph, 100-year chart. Since the Federal Reserve, i.e. central bank, was created in 1913, $1. Now, 100 years later, this chart shows can purchase only a nickel worth of goods that you could have bought back when they started. Now, that's 2013. That's 5 years ago. All right, the number now is lower than 4 cents. And the trend is continuing, right? Where do we end up with this? Where does this story end? Inflation is a hidden tax. All right? You want to see where this can go? Here, check this out. Venezuela. Inflation will be 1,000,000% by the end of the year. 1,000,000%. Is that a typo? Is that an error? No. Look it up yourself. Now, what does that even look like? I mean, how can we even grasp the reality of that? I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like if you want to go out and buy a bottle of water to give to your baby who's desperately thirsty for some clean water, You need to take your backpack or suitcase and fill it up with stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of cash to buy that one bottle of water. That's what it looks like. What this looks like is that the money is virtually worthless. It's worth more to be used for heating fuel in the fireplace than it is to actually purchase anything. All right? Now, I've done an extensive study of what's going on in Venezuela, and as a side note, you might want to look at it when you get a chance. In fact, you need to look at it, because this is where socialism ends up. Each and every time. This is socialism. So you say, well, I don't have to worry about that. I'm not in Venezuela, and I'm not really affected by socialism. Oh, really? You want to bet? Half of the population in the United States, the liberal left, is celebrating socialism. They're pushing socialist concepts. They want to destroy free enterprise, free speech, the capitalistic system, which gives everybody the opportunity to get ahead. They want everybody dumbed down, stupid, broke, dependent, and government running everything. And this is what happens when you get government running everything. This is socialism, and this is where the United States of America and all other free countries are headed if we, the people, don't stand up, go to the city council meetings, go to the county commissioner meetings, stand up and demand an end to this lunacy. Go check out this video, Project Venezuela, when you get a chance, but that's off point, all right? So this is socialism working at its finest, okay? It's ridiculous, it's absurd, it's unimaginable. So the central banks are stealing from you with controlled inflation. All right, then we come to the stock market, which has been rising unnaturally, defying all fundamental analysis. Why? QE, quantitative easing. You've heard of quantitative easing if you see any financial reports over the last several years. This is manipulation by the central banks. QE is flooding the market with easy money, with low to no interest, and everyone knows that the stock market is a bubble. It's a bubble soon to burst. If you've got stock or mutual funds, you need to sell, 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 and do it now. The entire market has been propped up by QE to disguise and cover up for the fact that this financial system of leveraged money and currency issued by the Federal Reserve central bank, printed out of thin air, out of nothing, is actually worthless. The system can only live for so long, and it's in collapse mode. Quantitative easing has been implemented to make everybody feel like things are fine, stocks are going up, everything looks great. Yeah, it's the money flooding the market that has propped this up. And now what are they doing? What's the Fed doing? They're raising interest rates. All right, what that does is that's when people have to pay higher interest, they're sucking money out of the economy. All right, there's a negative flow to the money supply. And when there's less money to go around, guess what? Fewer people are buying stocks, those prices start coming down, and it has a snowball effect. All right, so this is a bubble that's going to burst soon. If you've got stock or mutual funds, you need to sell, all right? You have no idea how many institutions will live or die based on what the stock market does. This market is the air that floats the balloon of the world economy. And when this balloon bursts, the ramifications will be worldwide, okay? The next bubble to burst is the housing market. I know Peter, and I knew his dad, Erwin Schiff, very prolific educator, instructor, author, exposing the IRS fraud. Erwin died as a federal prisoner, handcuffed as an 85-year-old man, handcuffed to his hospital bed. Unbelievable. Another story. Now, most people count the majority of their net worth with their home equity, right? Now, when that's gone, then what? Now, this is all bad enough, assuming you have a viable employment, a viable source of income, all right? But did you know that with the new paradigms that we have to live with now in the new digital age, that AI itself is going to replace half, I said half of all jobs that exist today will not exist in 5 years. Are you aware of that? All right, you can find this on your own with some easy internet searches, all right? So where does this leave you? All right, you need to understand this. I did an extensive video on this subject alone, and you need to see it. You'll find it on the YouTube page for the Lighthouse Law Club. All right, take a look at this video as well to understand what's really going on in the digital age and how if you don't change your way of thinking, change the way that you do things to position yourself to benefit in the digital age, that you're going to be left behind on the dusty trail just like horse droppings on the horse trail, okay? That's where you're going to end up if you don't shift gears. It's very simple. And this video will explain it, okay? So, where do you put your money? You know, where is it safe? Where will it grow? That's the question. What do you do? All right, let's look and see what your investment advisor will recommend to you, okay? Look at CD rates. Heck, you can go to Connexus Credit Union and get a whopping 2.5 to 3.25% annual. That's with a $5,000 minimum deposit, of course, okay? Heck, you can go to Marcus by Goldman Sachs. You can get as low as 0.6% with a $500 minimum deposit. Wow, 0.6%, less than 1% annual yield. Wow, isn't that something? Amazing. Okay, so CD rates suck. Forget about that. Let's look at municipal bonds. All right, bonds, they're even worse. 1.93%. Muni bonds with a 2-year yield. All right, now if you want to lock your money up for 5 years, they'll bump that up to 2.21%. Wow. 0.3% difference if I lock my money up for 5 years instead of 2. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so let's look at the 10-year Treasury note. All right. It's at a 7-year high right now. Wow. It's up in the stratosphere at 3.1%. 3.1%, 10-year Treasury note. Okay. Now, if you don't want to lock your money up for 10 years, all right, go for a 2-year note. But there you're only going to get 2.8%. Wow. This is ridiculous, okay? All right, well, the stocks are doing much better, right? Let's look at the stocks. Let's look at the S&P 500. That's Standard & Poor's 500 largest corporations in America. You're talking about Procter & Gamble, Xerox, General Motors, those kind of companies. 500 of the largest companies in America. S&P 500 returned only about 3% so far in 2018. Did pretty well last year. All right. Now, look at these yields. And this is what they're paying. You have to keep this in mind. This is what they're paying, but this is not what you're getting. You understand that? Okay, this is not what you're getting. You have to factor in taxes and inflation. Okay? Let's say taxes take 1/4 of your return. From 3%, now we're looking at roughly about 2.2% after taxes. And don't forget about inflation. Inflation currently, contrary to government statistics, and I'll show you why and how, but inflation is roughly 10% right now in most consumer categories. All right, so if your gain is 2%, that leaves you losing buying power at the rate of about 8% a year. So you're actually losing money with these investments after taxes and inflation. All right? Now, do smart people do this? Is this smart? No, I don't think so. Really, the people who do this, honestly, they can only be stupid to do this. I mean, these are people who can't figure out simple math and who refuse to think for themselves, do a little bit of research, be creative, look for alternatives, and these people will do whatever their professional advisor tells them to do. Oh, well, these are safe. Yeah, they're safe to be sure to be losing money and buying power every year. That's what they're safe for. All right? So let's get to inflation. Look at this, man. Like I told you, they're coming for you, and they want you broke and dependent. All right? And if you don't do something, you're screwed. Here we have the red line. This is the government statistics. This is what the government reports as the inflation. They're currently reporting inflation at roughly 2.5%, 3%. Very low. Nothing to worry about, right? Well, they don't calculate inflation the same way that they used to. In order to make it look better for the government, that their policies are working, they've redefined their formulation. They've taken key sectors of the economy out of the equation, and they don't report on everything. All right? John Williams with shadowstats.com does that. He does it with an all-inclusive approach, and he'll give you a more accurate figure, which is what the blue line represents. So actually, inflation has popped up above 10% this year. Real figures. And you know that just from going to the grocery store. Heck, I was in the supermarket yesterday. I went to pick up a pack of, I think it was 6 Italian sausages. $8. I'm looking at the price and go, $8? This is crazy. This should be like $1.50. So inflation is stealing your buying power. And that's serious, all right? So, I know a lot of us, you might think you have it under control. You have income, things seem fine, things are going along, you're paying the bills, maybe you're enjoying a life with a little bit of luxury and comfort. You're looking out the window at the bright sunny skies. You're looking out the window on the right-hand side of your limo. All right? Now, hey, man, this is a wake-up call. All right? Turn to the other side. Look out the left side of your limo and see what's coming. Here it is. There's a train wreck bearing down on you, pal. It's coming and there's no stopping it. There's no stopping this train wreck. And you're right in the path. All right, so what do? You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get the heck out of that car, get to a safe spot. Find a safe spot now. The train is bearing down. And you're going to be in deep crap. All right? Now, the good news is we've got a safe spot. All right? Let me tell you about it. We can show you how to build or recover a retirement fund in short order with alternative assets and opportunities. Okay? We can achieve a level of risk management with diversification from the very beginning, no matter how small you start. It's very difficult to be diversified with a small amount of capital, which is what most people have to start with. Not much, right? All right, you can be involved in the decision-making and the management of this safe spot to participate in making decisions on what your portfolio looks like. All right, and through this vehicle, we can create a 100% passive income in a short time frame. Now, what do I mean, a short time frame? The article I just showed you about AI taking over about 50% of the jobs in the next 5 years. Let's use that as a frame of reference. Let's talk in terms of the next 5 years. You know how fast time goes by, right? It's just flying by. All right, so we can do this in 5 years or less. No questions asked, all right? This is affordable that anybody can do, all right? No matter how much or how little you have to start with, the key thing is to start. Start building some kind of refuge for yourself, you know, when the shit hits the fan, all right? Now, this is safe. This is away from the banks. It's away from the government goons and the control they want to take your retirement funds. This is away from the central bank collection company. And we all know who we're talking about here, right? Okay? This is away from the market manipulation, and it's away from any of the bubbles. None of that is going to affect our safe spot. All right? So if you're going to survive a shakeup and what lies dead ahead, you're going to have to learn a few new tricks and jump into the stream of the digital age, okay? So here's our safe spot. I'm talking about the Lighthouse Investment Club. We have an investment club. You do not need to be a member of the law club to join the investment club, all right? This is a private association of individuals working together to solve these problems and to help each other move forward with a solution for these robber barons and thieves that want to steal our futures, okay? So it's managed by members. It's private. It's very secure. We deal in alternative assets and opportunities, like I said, not affected by all these robber barons. And it's got some very unique features and benefits, which I really don't want to talk about publicly, but are best suited for private discussion. All right? Now, one of the areas that the investment club is starting to develop a portfolio in is the crowdfunding ventures trust. This is a page you need to study. I'm not going to explain it here for time considerations. You can do this on your own. Go to crowdfundingventures.org and make sure that you look at the overview. Spend some time, start there. All right, then look at the current ventures. Okay, these are the different elements or aspects of the portfolio that crowdfunding ventures is investing in. All right, be sure to read how it works and spend some time going over those details. All right, again, this is one opportunity that the Lighthouse Investment Club is participating in. Okay? You can do that on your own. Now, the VP of Planning for Northwestern Mutual said this. She says, "It's rarely too late to start. In fact, we often compare financial and physical fitness because the hardest part is taking the first step." And that's where we're at. We're at the point of taking the first step along these lines to solve this problem that we're talking about. So here's what you need to do. All right, first of all, we all consider ourselves to be beacons of light. In a world of darkness, we can bring hope to those who want to listen, and not everybody does, right? So we're all in the minority. We're members of the very few who have open eyes and open ears, and so we need to spread that light of hope to others in this dark world. You need to consider what your future holds in regards to savings, retirement, job stability. Where are you going to be in 5 years when half the jobs are gone? All right? You need to consider the coming market crash. Do your research on that. Spend some time reviewing articles and videos. Understand what's going on. Don't keep your head in the sand. All right? Consider the government control over your life, your finances, and your future. The banking crisis. Do your homework on these things. You need to be fully alert, fully aware, so you can see 360 degrees all around you, and you can see what's coming in every direction. All right? Next, do your due diligence on crowdfundingventures.org. All right? This will give you a good idea of the types of activities that the Lighthouse Investment Club is starting with. Okay? Then get with the person who shared this information with you to clarify any issues, questions, and take the first step. All right? That's all you need to do. That's your homework. If you can do that, you might have a chance. There might be some hope. But if you don't, continue with the status quo. Remember the train wreck. And when the train smashes into your limo, your luxurious, comfortable lifestyle, you'll remember this presentation. Okay? So it's up to you, right? So hey, man, thanks for your attention. We wish you a golden future. And at this point, the rest is up to you. Take care, and we'll see you soon.